Hey there, everybody. So still trying to get the schedule working appropriately. Work's been hell. I guess I just wanted to take this slot just because I'm recording this right before I got to get to work. Lo and behold, I'm sort of trying to get back into it. I guess this video I just sort of wanted to ramble and rant since we're going to be dealing with OCTs for a very long period of time. And I know if you've watched the recordings of the Summer Leagues videos, then I have a little tangent on it, like at the beginning of every video. Trying to figure out how to edit that or make it to where, wondering if I should keep that at the beginning of every video or just the starter videos. If anyone wants to make a suggestion, comments will be enabled on this video. I know I'm a bit inconsistent when it comes to applying comments, but if it's something that might be a little spicy, I tend to try to like just keep people from meeting each other in the comments because again, I'm not that focused on like having a bunch of praise and whatnot or anything like that. Sorry, I'm just here to upload at this point and see if I can get stuff done. But I guess that's a good segue into what I'm going to be talking about, which would be OCTs. uh, if there's ever any project that's convinced me to get something done, it's been an OCT. And I'm going to be frank, I love them. I love OCTs. I love joining them. I love making characters. I love interacting with people with their characters. And I love seeing all of these creative minds exploding in front of us. It's always an experience. It's always a lot of hype. It's always a very insular little bubble that a lot of times tends to bring some teeth out. I suppose that's every community in the world, and I'm not here to like harp on them. Like it's just how it happens. Uh, the things I like about OCTs are like the immediate gratification. That's the biggest one, I think, which is why I've been trying to keep away to some degree, keep a distance because that immediate gratification becomes addicting, and then you never get any actual work done. Uh, like you get projects done with an OCT. Like you finish an audition. Good job. You've done more than like 90% of the art community that say, I'm going to make a comment. That might be a bit of a like an asshole sort of perspective on it, but a lot of people who say they want to do art don't like sit down and do the art and then make it. Now, can you make that comment when you're outside of an OCT, right? That's sort of where I sit on that. But that's just sort of the nature of it. And if people just do that to for their free time, like just I want to join an OCT, I make an OCT, and I'm not interested in any other art projects, that's perfectly valid. Like this is art. You make it for you, I would hope. If you're not making it to try to say something, then like you can make something for yourself. You can make something just to exist, and that is OCT work right there. A lot of my best work did come from OCTs, mostly because those are the primary projects I finished. Uh, I think in terms of OCTs that I enjoyed the most, it would have been Wizard Palooza, which was this tournament about a wizard convention called Wizard Palooza, and then drama ensues while you try to fight for a wish. I loved the staff and the characters and the world, and the finalists I'm actually quite good friends with. But God, Crinkle Crescent Beard, he makes me smile. Uh, I also think that that was where I was probably at the worst in terms of my OCT career. And I know I went over it already, but an OCT is pretty much like you build a character, you throw it in a ring, and then they fight it out with other characters, yada, yada, yada. There you go. And in terms of the writing, I think I was at my worst at Wizard Palooza, mostly because I was riding my own hype. And when you ride your own hype, you tend to fall over on your face. Uh, a little humility is very good. Like, if you're making something in an OCT, usually you think, I've got something that can make it in. And then you'll like ride the high of victory. If you get to that, like if you get in, you ride, you're like, oh yeah, that's good. I'm not expecting to make it past round one. And then you win round one and you're like, oh, I'm not going to win round two. And after you hit like round two, you start riding a high. And, yeah, no, that's a painful fall when you hit the dirt. At least in my experience. And like, I really deserved to lose Wizard to be honest with you. That was that was not my highest moment in terms of OCTs. I think similarly, and this one didn't hurt as bad. It was the Dreamcatcher OCT with my character John Finnegan. Which at this point I think I'm renaming him to Finnegan because I didn't know at the point that Finnegan was like a first name. I need to do some digging in that. My Irish heritage is feeling very ashamed of me right now, but that's just how she goes. But yeah, I though that one did produce like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was a very fun OCT for me to be in, and I made some very good friends in that. And you always make good friends whenever you run into an OCT. Recently, I've been having a hard time. I won't get into personal issues. This isn't a real talk. This is a ramble. I think my best OCT. I think I can't say it's my favorite necessarily. But I think my best run, my favorite entries have been summer leagues because that's where I've actually really picked up my writing style. And I found that the best way to write for an OCT, at least personally, has been to try to write for your opponent. That's something that I've recently taken up. And the idea behind it is like you have your opponent, they have this whole backstory, they have this world built up. Uh, People should see that. I think people should see that. Like they should see your character winning the conflict, obviously. Like however you manage to get that across. But because obviously, like if you're going to move on to the next round, your character should feasibly win in whatever method. But the character that you're facing does deserve a pedestal because ultimately, like this round wouldn't exist without them. Because if you're writing like specifically and only for your characters, it does turn into what's the point of the other guy being there? And this happens closer to like the end of OCTs. Like the first two rounds are usually very good. The third round, it depends on the overplot, and there's always an overplot. And I gotta say, you gotta be careful with overplots because they can quickly become very bloated. I know even on my summer leagues rounds, I was dragging my ass along. Like, how do I get this to fit the 60-page margin that I need to get it to fit? It was bad. It was bad. But, yeah. I've discovered that writing for the other person's character and the world and the lore that they build is very entertaining. I know you might have. One thing to understand is that if you're considering OCTs like canon outside of OCT stuff, that's going to be messy business. There are some people who are like, I killed my character for nothing. It's like, it's a fictional character. You can always not do that. This is an OCT. Though it does, like, express how much emotional input you put into these things when it comes to OCT work. Like, you get so invested in the tournament, so invested in the characters, because for like 6 to 12 months, that's all you're seeing in your free time. So it does make sense that people would like get hurt, right? And especially with misrepresentation of characters, and that's where, like, especially with Artist at the Ready, I deleted my Artist at the Ready work because that one is the one I'm most ashamed about. I was an asshole. I really was. And you won't see me deny that. I have been an asshole a couple of times in my career, and career as an OCTer, so it's my hobby career. But I've been an asshole a couple times, and I don't like that. That ain't me. I try not to be. I don't want to be. So things to remember if you are taking part in these things, and they're harder to find now since I need to check Newgrounds, but I know DeviantArt fell hard. But I have been thinking of moving a lot of my stuff to Newgrounds just because I don't like YouTube, like with what it's doing. Like YouTube's not the YouTube that I used to be in when I was a youngin', and like shaking my cane, you dang kids. But yeah, that's what it is. But if you ever join an OCT, you got to remember that the person on the other side of that screen put in a lot of emotional investment into those characters. They deserve at least a little something, like just as a sportsman-like thing to represent them at least properly, even if they don't have the highlight. But yeah, y'all have a good day out there. I hope y'all have a good one. yada yada blah blah blah, fart noises.